Hey, what's up, Dust the Viking here? It's finally time to make a new mega guide. Enough time has went by, and there's enough new stuff in Phasmophobia now to warrant it. Hell yeah, the new Nightmare mode has been completely awesome. All the new ghosts, new mechanics. It's good to be back. I remember my first video on Phasmophobia. It was so long ago. It feels like it was just a couple of weeks ago, though. It's pretty crazy. Anyway, in this guide, we are going to cover everything. And we're going to start off with talking about the difficulties. Alright, before we get into difficulty, there is something that is worth mentioning. And that's the fact that they are still taking a lot of feedback. That basically means that some of the stuff we talk about here might get tweaked. First thing I'll do is get myself off the screen here so I'm not blocking up everything. Alright, we'll talk about amateur first and the map selection up here. This up here tells you how many rooms and how many stories or levels that you're going to be dealing with. This is really just to give you an idea of how big the map is. This is going to be more beneficial for newer players. That's all this is for here. And of course the name of the map that you'll be playing on. Alright, so here we have amateur difficulty. This is recommended for new ghost hunters. You have a long setup time, which when you're in the van, you'll see a timer. And as long as that timer isn't on 0, then you're guaranteed to be safe. No hunts can happen. There's a long hunt grace period, which means when the ghost does go on a hunt and intends to try and kill you, after that hunt ends, it'll be a while before it'll fire off another hunt. The hunts will also be very short, and sanity pills will give you a ton of sanity back. Which basically means if you don't want to deal with hunts, you pretty much won't have to. And then you regain half of your lost equipment value if you do die, which is really good for new players. Alright, intermediate is the next step up, and it's just a continuation off all the same the things, but timers are either shorter or longer, less setup time, slightly longer hunts, less effective sanity pills. Fuse box does start off here. Intermediate is your first step toward pro. Basically, this is like old school Phas. And then you have professional, which, again, timers are just reduced and shorter, less hiding spots, sanity pills less effective. So again, just a continuation on the same stats, and everything is even less forgiving. But this one has one change to it. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I misread it. The ghost room can rarely change, so occasionally the ghost will move to a different area, which will lengthen your investigation and require you to use more of your sweeping tools, which makes the game feel more like an actual in-depth investigation. And then Nightmare Mode. Nightmare Mode is pretty interesting. It's just a more punishing professional mode, basically. You can get chain kills. The ghost can kill multiple people on the hunt. It's more likely to change rooms. Almost no hiding spots. Spoiler alert, there's actually still a ton of hiding spots. But yeah, this is the hardest difficulty in the game. The ghost only gives 2 clues instead of 3, so then you have to guess on behavior. There is one problem with doing 2 clues and then behavior to solve your ghost. You can no longer track sanity in Nightmare Mode, which makes it impossible to identify sanity-based ghosts, because that's their behavior. There's also a few other things in there where it's currently not possible. But, as I said before, this is where they're tweaking the game based on feedback. So Nightmare Mode isn't so much about having this crazy challenge that's really insane and hard to do, although that is fun, to do some crazy challenges. It's more about bringing some kind of intensity and engagement back to the game, something that keeps your attention. You have to stress a little bit more and worry, and that sets you up for some a couple of spooks and scares here and there, and, I think that's all a lot of us really wanted, was just a little bit of that back, and Nightmare Mode does that, even if there are a few RNG situations where the ghost is technically unsolvable. However, it seems like, They do not want that to be the case, and they are currently tweaking sanity-based ghosts, and it seems like they do want to ensure that if you really know what you're doing, you should always be able to figure out the ghost. It just sometimes it will be very hard to do. All right, so those are our difficulties. Next up, we have all our items. Why don't we go ahead and jump into a round? We've already got a Grafton farmhouse here loaded up on nightmare mode. Let's pop in there and talk about some items. Hey, post-edit dusk here. Somehow I messed up the footage section where I talked about items, so I'm just going to go over these real quick, and then we'll jump back into the original recording. All right, sanity pills. These are pretty straightforward. They raise your sanity and helps hold off the hunt. Thermometer. This is a basic tracking tool. Once your power box is turned back on, your fuse box, the temperatures will raise, and you can look for cold spots. You can also use it to verify freezing if you're struggling to see your breath or not sure if you saw your breath. The camera here, now thanks to the most recent patch, can be used to find ghost orbs, but classically is used to take pictures of fingerprints, the bone, and things like that to help generate some extra money. Parabolic mic. This is basically a sweeping tool. Use it to listen for the ghost or sounds that the ghost is making by knocking things over. Helps you basically locate the ghost. Candles. The candle helps prevent sanity drain, so it can keep your sanity topped off. It's not a very good light source, but does have some interactions with some ghosts. The lighter, used to light candles here, candles on site, and things like bonfires. Also, there's another interaction where if you have a lighter on or off, and you have a candle, you can press F, and it will just light your candle in hand for you automatically. Whoop. The Smudge Stick. The Smudge Stick you can also light just like a candle by pressing F. Also, the Smudge Stick is used to disorientate the ghost during a hunt. If the ghost is hunting and you burn your Smudge Stick, at the start of the burn, it will send out a map-wide pulse. No matter where you are or where the ghost is, the ghost will get hit and be blinded for a few seconds. It will not be able to attack or hurt anybody. And when the Smudge Stick finishes its burn, it will send out a secondary pulse that will do the exact same thing. Or, if you can use the Smudge Stick near the ghost before it hunts, it will delay a hunt. There are also some objectives, and there are also some unique interactions with some ghosts. The Crucifix, used to prevent hunts altogether. If a ghost attempts to start a hunt, and it is near a crucifix within 3 meters, 5 meters for the Banshee, and the crucifix is in your hand or on the ground, just anywhere. Instead of having the hunt start, you will see an arm melt off of the crucifix. It'll turn red hot and everything. This will show you that a hunt has been prevented. If a second hunt gets prevented, the other arm will melt off the crucifix. Once there are no arms left, the crucifix is considered destroyed and will no longer prevent hunts. Salt, primarily a tracking tool that you can place down, use sparingly. You only get 3 charges per can. There are also some specific and interesting interactions with some ghosts. Tripod, that I can't pick up for some reason. Tripod at this time is literally only for holding cameras, but there are more uses planned for them down the road. EMF Reader. This is kind of a tracking and verification tool. If you're playing on Nightmare mode, this thing right here is going to be busted, so you won't be able to get your EMF 5 evidence from that, and instead you'll have to rely on the EMF Reader by going inside and actually measuring activity, like if a ghost opened a door or moved an object, you sweep the object, if all 5 lights light up, then you've got an EMF 5. It can also be used to verify activity. So like if you heard a door open behind you and you turn around and you're not sure which door it was, you can run over with the EMF reader, and you might only get 2 lights, but that will verify that that was the door that the ghost interacted with. This can be useful if you're trying to look for fingerprints. You want to be able to verify exactly which door or object the ghost interacted with. Spirit box. This thing's only real purpose is basically to verify the evidence spirit box. There are a couple of go-to phrases I like to use. Where are you is my favorite one to lead with. And that is because if the ghost does not decide to react to the spirit box, or can't, because it's not a spirit box ghost, it might instead say, I'm here, by interacting with something. So you could say, where are you? And you might hear the piano go ding as soon as you get done asking the phrase. And that's the ghost saying, hey, I'm right here, but I don't talk on the spirit box. Also, let's say the ghost is upstairs, but it heard you, but it's not close enough to talk on the spirit box. Well, when you say, where are you? It might turn on a lamp upstairs or ring a phone, and you can be like, oh, it's up there. So it's a way to trigger the ghost, figure out where it is. You don't even need the spirit box. You can just say, where are you? But it works with the spirit box as well. It's kind of, the phrase has a lot of functionality to it. So that's my go-to phrase. But not all ghosts like to answer that phrase. So sometimes I also ask, are you old? Or are you young? Those two and questions seem to have a really good response rate. And then also, are you friendly? Seems to get a response out of more aggressive ghosts, but can even prod more aggressive ghosts. So careful with that phrase. If you see the X light up, that means the spirit box understood you, but you did not get a response from the ghost. If the little ghost symbol lights up, that means that the ghost did indeed respond, and you now have spirit box evidence. The book. All right, so the book is pretty straightforward, but frustrating for a lot of people. You know, you put it down, and the ghost writes in it, and you get your evidence. This is the sole purpose of the ghostwriting book. It literally does nothing else. If you are struggling to get the ghost to write in a book, what you want to do is look for an activity hotspot. Is it messing with stuff on a table a lot? Does it seem to have a favorite door it's messing with? If so, put it on the table near the items that it constantly messes with. If it's messing with the door a lot, literally put it in the doorway. And you can even use salt, which does agitate ghosts, sometimes to spur it on and get it to be a little bit more active, and that might give you your writing a little bit faster. All right, dots, coincidentally, are a lot like the book. Look for a spot of activity, place the dots projector, and then watch for results. You can also watch the dots projector through a camera. If you decide to watch the dots projector through a camera, you will almost always, well, at this time, I will say always, want to watch with the night vision filter on. And that's because the ghost will literally be 10 to 20 times more apparent and easier to see if you're watching the dots with night vision. All right, the camera. This thing is really multi-useful at this time. You can put it on tripods to monitor for activity, watch dots. It gives a really good view of a room when it's on a tripod, so, you know, scanning for ghost orbs. You can also hold it in your hand to sweep for ghost orbs. They're a little harder to see when you're holding it in your hand because the screen is a lot smaller, but still, it acts as a mobile sweeping tool, which is handy. You can also use it as a replacement for your flashlight if you want to free up hand space. All right, so we're on to the flashlights. Self-explanatory. Flashlight, self-explanatory. One's better than the other. Blacklight. All right, the blacklight is almost solely for collecting the fingerprint evidence. You will check doors, windows, light switches, the corner of tents just above the flap. Think if the ghost had put their hand on the tent and then swiped to knock the flap down, you're going to find the handprint up there, not on the flap, but on the body of the tent above the flap. Also, there is an event that will happen, a mini event, when a ghost steps or kicks over a pile of salt. When it does that, you will then hear the ghost, as it's now agitated, begin to stomp a lot more. You will hear very aggressive, very heavy footprints. If you take the black light and look at where you hear the sound, you will see green footprints. This will allow you to track the ghost with pinpoint accuracy, which might be kind of helpful if you're really trying to bug it for spirit box or maybe throw a book at it or something like that. All right, motion sensor. These things are so much more useful than they used to be, primarily thanks to professional and nightmare mode, where the ghost can sometimes change its room. What you'll want to do is place these around the map so that you can track ghost movement, see how far it's roaming, see when it's come back to its room, or see if it's abandoned a part of the map completely and maybe moved to another area. So that'll take some practice to get down how you want to use them, but a very powerful tool. Glow stick. This is a non-electrical light source that also doubles as a UV light. That's really important because when a ghost is hunting, if you have any electronics that are on, like a flashlight, for example, the ghost can sense that and will hone in on you. So you can turn your flashlight off and crack a glow stick and then still see to make your way away from the ghost without attracting the ghost. Also, these glow sticks double as UV lights, so you can use them to sweep for footprints if salt has been stepped in, or fingerprints to collect for evidence. After 60 seconds, the glow stick will dim and won't be suitable as a source of light, but if you get it close to surfaces, you can still look for fingerprints with it. Or use it as a marker in the distance if you just want to be able to, see some location in the dark, maybe a doorway or something. All right, sound sensor, very close to the motion sensor. There's a little bit more to these. They sweep large areas, and I'm going to showcase that off very quickly here. You can also overlap them if you're trying to maybe pinpoint some activity, and I will show you how that works right now. All right, so we have both sound sensors placed. Both of them are in the foyer, so they're both labeled foyer. And you can see, if you look real close, you see the little yellow triangle or rectangle right there. That is the sensor there, and that is the sensor there. This sensor is producing this big yellow square, and then this sensor is producing this big yellow square. If sound happens inside the yellow square that the sensor is producing, then you will see the sound appear over here. Typically with these, you do not want to overlap them. You want to spread them out for maximum coverage. And this is for simply tracking ghost activity to see where that might be. Again, your teammates, if they're talking or making sound, can register on those, so do be careful with regards to that. But about overlapping, in this particular example, the overlap is not all that great, but we do have the overlap. And basically what this means is if I get a sound spike here and basically nearly identical sound spike here, that means both sound sensors picked up the same sound. And if they did that, that means that the sound took place in the overlap. So if you're really clever, you can make little squares of overlap that might let you pinpoint sound, like in this little laundry room, for example. And then that can allow you a little bit more detail and accuracy about where those sounds are taking place. And last but not least, the headgear here, which is identical to one of these video cameras. You can come over here and you can monitor the head camera from this computer. It is a useless item if you're playing solo, but can be really useful for a teammate if they want to track what you're doing or help look for ghost orbs or something like that. If you ever want to take it off, target the little hook peg and press the F key and it'll hang it back up. All right, let's move on to ghost behavior. This is basically the meat of the guide because this is what you're going to need to understand if you're going to identify ghosts in nightmare mode. Let's start with the spirit. The spirit is the most common of all the ghosts, and if you read their flavor text, what this basically means is that they're an active ghost. They're not dormant, they're not a shade. This ghost has no strength, which makes them the weakest ghost in the game. Weakness, though, a spirit can temporarily be stopped by burning a smudge stick near them, which will lower their activity and also prevent them from hunting for 3 minutes. That's usually how you'll tell if you have a spirit. Is through smudge stick use. Wraith. Wraiths are one of the most dangerous ghosts you will find. That's so blatantly untrue. The Wraith is one of the weakest ghosts in the game. It's only a little bit more dangerous than the spirit. Only just a tiny bit more dangerous than the spirit. And that's because you can't shut it down with the Smudge Stick like you can a spirit. Strength, the Wraiths almost never touch the ground, meaning it can't be tracked by footsteps. That's a little bit of a misleading statement there. You will still hear footsteps. They will still step in piles of salt. You will see the footprint. What they will not do is after they step in salt, they will become agitated. All ghosts do. And you'll hear heavy stomping. If you get your black light out and shine it where you hear the heavy stomping, every other ghost in the game will leave green footprints. The Wraith will not. And that is often how you tell if you have a Wraith, is by looking for a lack of green footprints. Some of the other things to be on the lookout for with the Wraith is that they can traverse through floors instead of like going upstairs or anything like that. They can just fly up. This allows them also to traverse a map without triggering motion sensors or sound sensors. So sometimes that can be a subtle giveaway for your Wraith as well. Weakness, Wraiths have a toxic reaction. Assault. All ghosts get agitated by salt and become more active. It's just more so with the Wraith. This is very rarely discernible, so this is almost ignorable. Phantom. A phantom is a ghost that can possess the living and then has a connection to the Ouija board. I haven't been able to figure out any in-game connection with the Ouija board and the phantom, but I do know that the phantoms can possess people, and they don't have to do it through the Ouija board. If a phantom possesses you, they attach to you like a shadow. You won't know you're possessed, you won't know they're there. The only thing that happens is a lot of paranormal activity, and the ghost activity will center around you or whatever room you're in. This can make the phantom appear to be a banshee in certain situations. Strength. Looking at the phantom will drop your sanity. And it does. When it manifests in a ghost event and you look at it, it will shred your sanity. This can be a tell that you're dealing with the phantom. However, they're reworking sanity because on nightmare mode you can't track sanity. And that can make it literally impossible to identify any ghost that is sanity based. So expect changes to come to the phantom in this regard. Weakness. Taking a photo of the phantom will make it disappear. This is usually your smoking gun litmus test for figuring out if you have a phantom. Now, keep in mind, sometimes a ghost will pop up and just disappear really quickly, so it can be hard to figure out if the camera made it disappear or if it just disappeared on its own. I know one way that someone told me is that if you still hear the heartbeat after it's gone, that's kind of the smoking gun, it was a phantom. But if it's not doing anything else and it has disappeared when you took a picture, you might have to go out on a limb and be like, okay, it's a phantom. Poltergeist, one of the most famous ghosts, thanks to the movies. Known to manipulate objects to spread fear. Yes. Strengths. Poltergeist can throw multiple objects at once, which they do, and it actually causes a fair bit of damage to your sanity while they do it. And the worst thing is you probably won't even notice them doing it because they tend to just bump objects very intermittently. So you might see like a bottle get knocked over and roll off a desk, but what you won't see is like 3 forks and a dinner plate all go boop at the same time. And that will like nickel and dime eat at your sanity as they do that. That makes the poltergeist a sanity ghost, which might get tweaked because they're tweaking sanity ghosts. I'm not sure, but that can be kind of a tell, is that if you have a ghost that is messing with a lot of items and your sanity seems to be getting eat up quite a bit. The other thing is that the poltergeist likes to move things, or throw things rather. If they don't have objects to throw, their activity tends to die down, and that's the weakness. With nothing to throw, they become powerless. They have no way to do their sanity drain trick on you anymore. But their activity also drops down. So if you think you have a poltergeist, take all the objects out of the room, see if activity dies down, and then bring objects back in and see if it starts messing with them again. And that's kind of your tell on your poltergeist. Banshee, natural hunter that will attack anything. It's been known to single out prey, which it does. The Banshee will have a preset target amongst your group. When that person is in the house, the Banshee will try to follow them around when it sees them and will be active around that target, which can be confusing with the Phantom a little bit. But the tell here is that they fear the Crucifix, and then around a Crucifix they become less active. One of the tricks I've been using is setting up a dots projector and watching it until the Banshee's pretty active and running through it a lot, and then throwing a Crucifix next to the dots projector, and then going back out and watching it, and if it's suddenly way less active in the dots projector, good sign you might have a Banshee on your hands. Jinn, the territorial ghost that will attack when threatened. It's been known to travel at significant speed. The Jinn is really weird. There's a lot to explain here. So, a Jinn will travel faster if its victim is far away. And it doesn't matter if it can see you, it's just if there's nobody nearby, it travels very fast. This makes a Jinn very good at going through its hiding spots and trying to sniff out hiding survivors until it gets in your area, and then it will slow down once it's near you. But still, that's something to be afraid of. Also, if it can see you and it's far away, it will catch up. Its speed will degrade as it gets closer, but it will catch up very quickly. That makes it dangerous if it can see you. Weakness, if you turn off the location's power source, it will prevent the Jinn from using its ability. That can actually be a pretty big deal. You probably do want to turn the breaker off if you think you're dealing with a Jinn. The Jinn also has a hidden passive where if you're around its room, the ghost room, it will drain your sanity faster than normal. I don't know if this is intended. It's not listed here. I don't know if that's part of its territorial thing or whatnot, but it is definitely something that happens with the Jinn. And often that sanity drain is how we identify it. That might get tweaked or reworked, or if it's a bug, maybe they'll fix it, but it's been like that since the game came out, so I don't really know what they're going to do with that. As far as identifying the Jinn, it's really hard to identify a Jinn except for the fact that its activity is going to be higher when you're in its ghost room. And if you back away from the ghost room, it will be less active. It definitely doesn't follow you around. And as a result, it doesn't roam quite as much as the other ghosts because it's busy guarding its ghost room. So those can all be kind of like subtle little tells. The Mare, source of all nightmares, making the most powerful in the dark. A Mare will have increased chance to attack in the dark. This makes the Mare kind of dangerous if the lights are out. It can attack early and unexpectedly, catching you off guard, which is dangerous. But some of the tells of the Mare is that the Mare will never turn on a light. If you have a ghost turn a light switch on, then you know it's not a Mare. And this is kind of like the tell that you go by as if it has turned on lights or not. Weakness, turning on the light around the Mare will lower its chance to attack. So if you do get an early ghost hunt, and you're like, wow, that was early. Is this maybe a Mare? Get the lights on and see if the hunts quit and if activity also gets a tad bit lower. That's your tells for the Mare. Revenant. The Revenant's a violent ghost that will attack indiscriminately. Their speed can be deceiving as they are slow while dormant. Revenant is considered by most to be the most dangerous ghost in the game. I consider the most dangerous ghost in the game the Jinn, because not only is it fast, but it also drains sanity at the same time, and it can go through hiding spots faster. The Revenant, if it can't see you, actually travels slower than a normal ghost, which means it's really slow to go through hiding spots. So, yeah, if you smudge stick and get away from Rev and get hidden, you're probably safe and good to go. However, unlike the Jinn, the Revenant's speed does not degrade as it gets closer. It stays at its maximum very fast speed all the way up until the point that it catches you, which means if you get caught out in the open versus a Revenant, you're probably just dead. So a lot of people consider this the most dangerous ghost in the game for good reason. Me going with the Jinn is really just kind of personal opinion because I feel like sanity drain is just that powerful. But yeah, the Revenant is definitely up there as well. Super deadly ghost. About the only tell that this ghost has, too, like here's another thing is it doesn't have a lot of tells, is that the ghost is a dormant ghost that needs to wake up, so you'll see smaller bits of activity that get a bit bigger and bigger as it gets, you know, your sanity drops and it's ramping up to start doing its hunts, then you'll see the activity come up. But that's kind of a very subtle series of events. So the Revenant can be kind of hard to identify by behavior. Maybe the best way to really identify it is to watch it kill one of your teammates. See how fast it gets to him. Not the best way to do things, right? Shade is known to be the shy ghost. Shade's probably one of the most annoying ghosts in the game because its activity is just low the whole time. Strengths, it is much harder to find. It's very quiet. It doesn't put out a lot of activity. Just a really annoyingly inactive ghost. Weakness, the ghost will not enter a hunt if there are multiple people nearby. That's the key. The group of players also has to be near the ghost. If you're grouped up in a group of 4 but the ghost is on the other side of the house, it can still hunt. So this isn't like an end-all be-all to stop the Shade from hunting. It just means don't be alone in the ghost room. You know, like if you're going to grouping up in the ghost room is the best place to do it because most likely that's where the ghost also is. And that's your kind of tell. Low activity, and if you're grouped up in its room and hunts kind of die down or go away, yeah, there's your Shade. Demon, one of the worst ghosts you can encounter. It's definitely tricky. Demons are super random with their activity. They're just a random type of ghost, but one thing that they can do is they can attack very early while you're at high sanity. This can catch you off guard, which does make the demon kind of dangerous. And that's pretty much your tell. If you just get a random super early hunt for what appears to be no reason whatsoever, and you flip on lights and all this stuff, and it's still very active at you, and maybe you still get another hunt, good chance you are dealing with a demon. Weakness, demons will take less sanity when answering a Ouija board. This might get tweaked, because again, they're tweaking sanity-based behavior and evidence. So, yeah, we're just going to skip that one, because that probably won't be true in the near future. A Yuray, a ghost that has returned to the physical world, and it's very mad. Yeah, these are kind of diva ghosts. They're funny. Yuray has been known to have a stronger effect on sanity, so your passive sanity drain is just a little faster. It's not super noticeable, but it's a little noticeable. Now, if you're on Nightmare mode, you probably won't be able to notice. It will just hunt a little bit sooner, maybe, than you were quite expecting. Weakness, smudging the Yuray's place of death will trap it in its ghost room, basically. This means that it cannot roam at all if you smudge its room. But the counter side to that is if it's not trapped in its room, if you haven't smudged it, it roams more than any other ghost in the game. So if you just see that the ghost is all over the place, it's not following anybody, it's just being crazy all over the map, you might have a Yuray. That's kind of your big giveaway for Yuray, and then you verify it by smudging its room, and all of a sudden all the activity is trapped in there. The one thing to watch out for the Yuray, though, is when your sanity gets low, a lot of ghosts will start to get into a chain hunt cycle. I feel like with the way the Yuray is, its little angry attitude, it seems more prone to chain hunting a little bit sooner than some of the other ghosts. So once it gets mad, it gets full psycho, and then it's just like chain hunt, chain hunt, chain hunt. The Oni is such a debater. He's a little turkey is what he is. I don't know why these blindside me sometimes, but they do. Oni is not a particularly dangerous ghost. Although they do share traits with demons and just being like angry and active and appearing to be powerful. Strengths, Onis are more active when people are nearby and have been seen moving objects at great speed. I don't know why that's a strength, that's a total giveaway. Weakness, Onis are very active, making them easier to find. In other words, they dish out their clues a lot faster. They're more prone to doing EMF 5 events. They'll drop the temperatures faster, and, given the chance, they'll run through dots first chance they get. So they give out the clues, and they like to throw things. Here's the thing. They can appear to be like polters because they're throwing things. But the key difference is if you take out all the items, or there aren't items for them to throw, and they're like, well, I'll just mess with the doors then. They'll try to find something to mess with. They don't really care. The other giveaway for the Oni, if you're struggling to get the evidence, or maybe you got the evidence really quick, but you're still just not quite sure, is that... if there's nobody for the Oni to show off in front of, Instead, the activity might then drop off. So you can have everybody leave the house and just watch and see if it feels like activity has dropped off, and then go back in and see if activity starts to spike back up. Sound sensors can be a great way to monitor that activity on nightmare mode, because you sure can't see that EMF reader, can you? So anyway, it's just the crazy activity and reactions that the Oni do that give it away. Yokai! This was the first interesting ghost they added to the game. It was the first ghost that was more dangerous to a certain demographic of player, people who talked a lot. So it was often referred to as the streamer killer, which was just really cool. I loved the idea. Now, it's not as bad as it used to be. They nerfed it a little, but it is still pretty volatile. If you go in and you're talking constantly, the yokai will be very active, and then it will launch, random early attacks, often like a demon would. So these can be kind of dangerous. They can catch you off guard and blindside you. Strengths: talking near the yokai will anger it, increasing its chance of attack, which is funny because Spirit Box is one of its evidences. Weakness: when hunting, a yokai can only hear voices close to it. It is almost deaf during its hunt. That can be really helpful if you do want to try and communicate a little bit during a hunt for whatever reason with the teammate. So yeah, you basically just identify the yokai by going in, and it's crazy active, it seems aggressive, and then you just have everybody stop talking, and you see if the activity dies down. That's your giveaway. The Hantu. Hantu is a rare ghost that can be found in hotter climates. This is the fire ghost, or the fire elemental kind of the game. Strengths: lower temperatures allow them to move faster at faster speeds. As far as I can tell, this fire elemental or fire demon seems to consume heat, and as a result it gives off freezing temperatures as an evidence. It's a really interesting dynamic that paints a cool picture. Freezing. Because it appears to actually be eating the warmth out of the air. And if it's cold, that means it's hungry, and it's faster because it's hungry. And what's warm? You are. So they can be dangerous if it's cold. Thankfully, for the most part, you almost always have the breaker box on, which means that it's warm, and the Hantu's not going to be any sort of an additional threat. The caveat will be if you're getting the snow weather, which will make the ambient temperature a little bit colder. Even more so if you're on an outdoor map like the campground. If it's snowing and you're at the campground and it's a Hantu, you might actually be in a little bit of danger because it's always going to be fast and there won't be a way to stop that. They're a little bit more active when it gets cold, which can kind of be a giveaway. But other than that, they don't react, they don't go completely dormant when it's warm. They're still plenty active. So temperature doesn't really give the Hantu away as much as you'd like it to, which can make this ghost a little tough to deal with, or a little tough to identify at times. Honestly, I think when we identify the Hantu, it's usually because we've ruled out some of the other ghosts around it. And as a last resort, we might turn off the power and drop the temperature and see if it maybe gets faster as a result. Goryo. When a Goryo passes through a DOTS projector, using a video camera is the only way to see it. Not even any lore or fluff text here, it's just straight to the point of what the Goryo is. You should never see the Goryo with the naked eye. It'll always be through a camera. And that is its strength, but it's also a complete giveaway. This is how you identify the Goryo, honestly. Weakness: they are rarely seen far from their place of death. This also means that the Goryo does not roam very far. It'll roam a little bit, but it tends to stay very close to its ghost room, very similar to the Jinn, but even more so in the Goryo's situation. So that's how you'll identify it, is this lack of roaming and all that. So Goryo is pretty easy, honestly. And they're not deadly. As deadly. Myling, a very vocal and active ghost. They are rumored to be quiet while hunting their prey. A Myling is known to be quieter when hunting. Alright, so a Myling does not make footstep sounds while it's hunting. That's a pretty big giveaway. Also, they're a lot chattier on the parabolic mic. If you have your mic out, you're much more likely to hear the whispering and demonic voices that come over the parabolic mic, and they will do that frequently. So those are your giveaways on Myling. And it, more frequently makes paranormal sounds. So there you go. Myling, pretty easy to identify. It doesn't drain sanity or do anything special, so not a super deadly ghost. Onrio. The Onrio is often referred to as the wrathful spirit. It steals souls and all that stuff. But here's the big thing. The Onrio fears fire, which as far as I can tell means that the Onrio is our shadow demon of the game, which is kind of a cool picture, honestly. Strength. Extinguishing a flame can cause it to attack. So it fears the fire, but as soon as the fire is gone and it no longer has anything to fear, it gets very angry very quickly, and its chance to attack becomes imminent. It maybe even is angered by the fact that you dared bring fire into its presence, into the shadows and the cold. So this can be a tell on this, is if you notice that candles are being blown out way faster and more frequently than they normally are. You see the bonfire in the campground go out like way sooner than you'd probably expect that to go out. This thing will blow out flames and then it will attack after doing so. So this is your shadow demon of the game, which is a cool picture to paint, and the fact that it can hunt at very high sanity, like a yokai or a demon or something like that. Also, I forgot to mention this, banshees can hunt at high sanity as well if their target is in the house. So that makes these kind of like, medium dangerous ghosts right here. They can catch you off guard and blindside you. When threatened, this ghost will be less likely to hunt. So as long as you have fire out, that'll keep the Onrio at bay. So keep your candles lit. The twins. This ghost, it is just one ghost, but it essentially has a split personality. If you're familiar with Vampire the Masquerade, there were the twins, which was a crazy vampire, and literally had her face painted right down the middle. One side was a goth chick, the other side was like all business and serious, and the other side was crazy. That's basically your twins. It's two ghosts that are inhabiting the same body. As a result, they can chain hunt like no other ghost in the game, which is what this means here. They alternate their attacks to confuse their prey. Normally, when a ghost ends a hunt, there's a cooldown period before they can try to hunt again. Or even if they get stopped by a crucifix, there will be a cooldown period before they can hunt again. That is not so with the twins. After one twin ends a hunt or fails to start it due to a crucifix, the other personality can immediately try their hunt out. So you might be holding a crucifix and then see one side melt and then the other side immediately melt, meaning you got hit by a double hunt. That is your smoking gun that you are dealing with the twins. Or if you see some kind of like endless hunt, you're like, oh my god, how long is this thing going to hunt? Well, it was probably 2 hunts back to back. And again, that's your giveaway that it's the twins. Twins are not super crazy or oppressive, but they can, well, they're not super deadly, but they can be oppressive. Their hunts can be a little oppressive, and they can power through the crucifixes, obviously twice as fast as any other ghost in the game. Weakness. The twins will often interact with the environment at the same time. So basically, think about it this way. You've got one twin that controls the left hand, one twin that controls the right hand. But they do like to do things together because they are twins. So you might see them both knock over something at the same time, or both interact with doors at the same time. Or basically, you just see these tandem spikes of activity. And they can be kind of spaced out. But ghosts can telekinesis things, I suppose. They can even flip breaker boxes from across the map, so I suppose that's what's going on. But when it hunts, you will only ever see one ghost model. When they manifest, you only ever see one ghost model. There is just one physical ghost. It's just 2 personalities. And that's your tell. Tandem ghost events and devil hunts. Good luck. The Reiju is a demon that thrives on electrical current. While generally calm, they can become agitated when overwhelmed with power. Too much electricity can cause ghost activity to spike, which is a good thing because, well, an active ghost is a ghost that's giving away clues. But you can kill the power and then all of a sudden watch activity drop down. This is a really good tell for Reiju. The other unfortunate tell is they move faster during hunts if there's electricity nearby. Weakness. Reiju are constantly disrupting electronic equipment, making it easier to track when attacking. When a ghost is hunting, if you get close to it, your flashlight will flicker. For the Reiju, that radius is much bigger, so you'll have a better heads up when the Reiju is hunting, and thankfully so, because they move very fast if they're feeding off any electricity. Now, while you can use electricity and watch the activity to get a tell on if you're dealing with the Reiju, I also have a little bit of a theory. Because the weather patterns do affect the game now. You see temperatures, which can affect, like, the Hantu, rain, which can make it very noisy and hard to hear things. But if you get or a fog, which can make it hard to see your ghost orbs at times, not impossible, but it's a little harder. But the Reiju, I suspect, I haven't confirmed this, and this is just a theory, but I suspect that in heavy rain, where you get a lot of lightning strikes, that this can empower the Reiju and potentially make it more dangerous. Just a theory, though. Last but not least, the Obake. The Obake is supposed to be the shapeshifter. Unfortunately, the shape-shifting aspect of the Obake doesn't really do anything interesting in the game. They are terrifying shapeshifters capable of taking many forms, but unfortunately in Phasmophobia they only take one form. And that's either a humanoid with normal hands or a humanoid with an extra finger. That's it. That's all they do. They don't clone themselves as other players or any of the cool stuff. They leave fingerprints as evidence, and sometimes their handprint will have an extra finger. That's it. It's kind of a boring ghost. They don't drain sanity. They don't do anything crazier with hunts. They don't really do anything. They just have a dead ringer giveaway, and that sometimes their fingerprints has an extra finger. Strength, when interacting with the environment in Obake, will rarely leave a trace. So while the fingerprint is their dead giveaway, they very rarely leave fingerprints at all. And when they do, sometimes it is just a normal hand. So the Obake can also be super annoying to get evidence out of. I guess that's the only thing you really have to worry about with it. I really hope they revisit this ghost and do more with it, because there's a lot of cool potential here, besides just a fingerprint with one extra finger on it. But anyway, that's your giveaway on the Obake. Alright, now that we've covered all of the ghost behaviors and how you will discern them on a nightmare mode mission, I'm sitting here at a farmhouse in nightmare mode. Let's see if we can use this collective knowledge to figure out what the ghost is. Now, we heard it booping on the thing earlier, but I think this guy is still, more on nightmare mode, as you can see, still in the living room marker. It does not appear to be roaming, does it? It's not changing rooms, and we're on nightmare mode, so let's go do something. Let's go do this. Ooh. We're going to create some intentional overlap because, well, we've got a ghost that doesn't seem to go anywhere. That might have been me talking on my way out, so we can ignore that spike. Living room only. So that means that it's definitely right here. It's in the kitchen, not going anywhere. So let's get some cameras in the kitchen, shall we? And not sure. Do I need sanity pills? I don't even know where my sanity is. Haven't been paying much attention. I think it'll be fine. Whoop. So we're getting sounds, that beer bottle there. So let's, oh, hey, what's up, mannequin? Since we know we're getting semi-frequent activity there, and we are also getting activity around that back door, because we're getting boops off that one motion sensor quite a bit. Let's drop that. Whoop. Wow, a beer can all the way up here. Interesting. Interesting. We'll also put a dots projector way back here. And let's put it, like, in the doorway, because it has messed with that door a fair bit. Did I see freezing breath? I don't know that I did. And I thought I had a book. Yes, right here. Oh, it is reacting to my presence a bit. Aren't ya? Aren't ya? Alright, so that's just me talking. That should all die down pretty quick. Let's go ahead and watch this one, because it was here. Living room only, so it is back in the kitchen. Whew, not much of a roamer until I came in. And then suddenly it was. I find that a little interesting. So we have some behavioral evidence already to go off of. Now, we've also got the advantage of the fact that we've been sitting here for a while, so this thing is, like, really agitated. Very reactive. Very reactive. All right, let's watch the other dots for a little bit. Given how long it's been sitting in there, I expect if it's going to interact with dots, it'll do so pretty quickly. And we're not seeing that, so probably not going to get dots evidence. All right, well, I'll grab an EMF. Let's go back in, shall we? It might be reacting to my voice as well. But I gotta talk to you, sis. Where are you? Where are you? Are you old? Are you friendly? Are you friendly? Are you old? Go ahead and get out there. So that time we got very little activity. And I was definitely talking quite a bit. Did it just change rooms on me? Has it been in the kitchen this entire time? Minding its own... Okay, foyer. So that's this one. And that's interesting because we have overlap, so it was somewhere in here. Dining room. Okay, so we're getting over here now. I might need yet another camera. You know, and this is one thing I like about Nightmare Mode is, oh, I forgot to... EMF sweep. Yeah, let's get the book in there first. So we actually have to set up, like, this is more of an investigation, right? Like, we're setting up cameras in a lot of different places. And the whole process just feels more interesting and in-depth And it's just more engaging and more fun. Really, really enjoy, you know, the flow of the game with these changes. We'll grab the EMF as well. Let's see here. Is this our new... That's our new one here. All right, so we have living room. So that was kitchen. We've really got to cycle these cameras here. I wish there was a better way to do this. But there is not. It's not hitting that motion sensor at all, is it? We might need a motion sensor in a new spot. Because I want to verify that the thing is still down here, right? Foyer. This thing is just being really random, huh? Alright, well, let's go in there and see if we can maybe tag something with the EMF really quick. I don't know what it could have moved. Something over here? It's not writing in the books. Wow, it just completely relocated on us, didn't it? So it was not roaming initially, but now it's roaming all over the place. It could have potentially even, that was my voice in there, it could have potentially even roamed away from the kitchen and then came back when we were gone. Whatever it is definitely roaming, so we can now kind of ignore that particular instance there. Alright, what else do we want to do? I think we'll keep a hold of this. Let's go do a temperature sweep really quick, shall we? 10 degrees outside. Getting here, it's still... Nah, we're like 22 in here. A little cooler in here, but not much. Can back there. And kind of warming up in here. Is it cool? Nah, it's warming up. So it has maybe left this area. So let's go do some scouting, shall we? Did you hear that? I heard that. Oh, it's like up here now. That was freshly dropped. I'm gonna get my EMF reader. Where's my EMF reader? That's a burnt smudge stick. You're not an EMF reader. Get out of here. Bye, Odin. Boyer, I think that was me. Alright, so it has relocated. Did it just turn that light on? Give us a sign. Where are you? Wow, this thing's turning on a lot of lights, dude. Where are you? Give us a sign. Oh my god, is it... It moved again? Is it now in here? It's now in here. Or this is warming up. How annoying. How annoying. Alright, so here's what we're gonna do. We have to move this up here. Breathe heavy, big dog. Where are you? Oh, jeez. Alright, well. What a pain. What a pain. Dining room. Oh, yeah, that's dining room. Upstairs hallway. That's where I moved the other one. What kind of coverage do we have there? Mostly just that. Mostly just that. I do have another sound sensor. We're going to have to use all our sound sensors. Ooh, living room. So that is that one. Oh, it's back in the kitchen. It's back in the kitchen. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's here. It's here. What do we got? Upstairs hallway? Oh, it's upstairs hallway now. What is this thing doing, dude? I don't even know where its room is. Is this a Yuray? It's funny, because I was like, oh, it's not roaming at all, and now it's just a machine. Upstairs hallway. It's being very loud up here. Alright, you know what? Scratch this. We're going to get that. And do I have... Yeah. A black light. So I want to try and look for fingerprints. Hold on, hold on, hold on. I have no idea where my sanity was at. Because we've been screwing around so much talking about game mechanics. So let's get that up there so we don't get blindsided too hard. Just turn that light on. Knock on the window. Here, let's put this here. Close the door. Can you close the door? Can you knock? Give us a sign. Huh. Let's do a Wraith check, shall we? Back down to living room. It's not hit any of my salt piles, but they're not in particularly good spots, so... It is definitely doing a lot of moving. So let's do that. And then see... It was a fake hunt. God. Oh, it got me good. It was definitely up here. Can you knock? Close a door. Give us a sign. God, that scared the crap out of me, dude. The new fake hunt is super good. Where are you? That sounded like it was downstairs. This thing is crazy. Oh, hello there, mannequin. How? Okay. another... Yo! Okay. 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 I understand. You don't want me here? Okay. What? What is this? What the hell, dude? What's going on? Holy jeez. Yeah, I witnessed a few ghost events. Dining room and living room. The overlap here. I need another camera in there. Holy mother of mercy. Oh. I don't even know what I'm looking for if I drop this here, but hey, whatever. Okay, this thing just... Wait. A monster. So if this is the Phantom, my sanity's gotta be like 40. If it's not... I don't have any evidence. I don't have any evidence. I'm gonna chug these for now. Boop. I think I'm gonna have to do a sweep for ghost orbs. Jesus, this thing's hostile. It remains as a very active ghost with a little bit of living room activity. Living room? Yeah. So that could be back in the kitchen. It could be in the actual living room. No idea. We're gonna have to use the thermometer to track down its room again, because it won't stop moving. Boy, that mannequin. That mannequin. I can't believe it got me twice right in the face. Oh, jeez. Alright. Now that I'm super paranoid. Did you hear that? I flipped the breaker. Okay, what about in here? Yeah. So it has relocated to this room. 100% relocated to this room. So let's look for these orbs. That is horrific. Is the word I will use to describe that. No. Alright, Ghost, where are you? I'm going to talk a whole lot now to see if you're going to appear here and give me a sign or give us something. Be agitated. Where are you? 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 I'm trying to rule out yokai. And alright, we're gonna get the power back on and see what happens there. Okay, there's the activity. I don't know. Oh my god, it likes to appear behind me. The hair on my arms. Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Okay, what do I know? When I turned the breaker off, it got less active. That's all I have. That's all I have, is that when the breaker box was off, it was less active. When I'm in there, it's reacting to me, but I'm turning on lights. Talking didn't seem to do much. The only other thing I think I could maybe test for here would be, EMF, let's go. Let's go. God, this is terrible. Oh. Why do they get rid of my black light again? It's not really come back up here, has it? I kind of don't want it to. Alright, well, let's go. See what's up. No writing. I'm gonna turn this light on. Give us a sign. Where are you? Maybe it'll do the rocking chair again. Where are you? It doesn't seem to like it when I ask it questions. Maybe if I put the dots in here. So it seems like it's being less active. Oh, that was the motion sensor. It's being less active now. Which, if you watched my 1 hour video, we know that they do go in waves of activity. And since we're on a down spike of a wave, this gives us a chance to move some of our things in here. It likes that rocking chair. This is a hot spot right here. Did I just hear another door? It's a fake hunt. It's invisible, just standing there. See it? There's a 4, a static 4. Give us a sign. Alright, I'm just gonna get out of here. It hasn't done a real hunt yet. It's just doing crazy amounts of ghost events. More ghost events than I think I've ever seen. Realistically. Alright. The EMF 4 was the residual for the ghost event, so it doesn't necessarily rule out EMF 5. Maybe I should try Spirit Box again. It's being active. I don't think we're going to get dots. I feel pretty confident about it not being dots. Dots might be one of the evidences, so I can't cross it out because this is nightmare mode and they just don't give away one of their evidences. But I'm getting no evidences whatsoever. And we did mention that the Obake could be one of those things, right? Like the Obake could be the thing that doesn't give us much to go by. But I know it's in there. So I'm going to hit a Smudge Stick up. And we're going to see if that kills activity at all. If it does, we might be dealing with spirit. If it is suddenly really active, but in this room. Nah, I heard a door somewhere. Where's my black lights? I don't know. I don't think it's a spirit box. I lost track of my black light because panic. Panic! Panic! Or my EMF. I've lost track of all my tools. Cool. Sweet. So, it is definitely not a spirit. It is not a Yuray. Oh, I brought him in here. That's why. The EMF reader was going off, so I know it's in there. I really wanted to sweep that chair. Let's do spirit box one more time. Where are you? Are you here? Are you young? Okay, that... I asked if it was here, and it threw stuff. It just turned the breaker box off. I'm gonna let that sit. And we are gonna see if activity dies with the breaker box. Or if we still get... Oh, wait, I hear something over here. A 3. It's killed the breaker box a few times now. It just doesn't want to give evidence, does it? This is super stubborn. Super stubborn. Boop. Just gonna grab a camera. That was the living room. Very loud in there. Alright, so... earlier I thought activity died out, but then it didn't. It's been ghost eventing a lot, so let's just get a camera. And, oh, it's the motion sensor. Oh, it's right in front of me. Whoop. Let's see, books in here. No books, no dots. No orbs, no fingerprints, no EMF 5, no freezing temps. Just nothing. Which is it this one? Or this one? This is where I need the EMF reader so I can verify that these were the doors that it messed with. What do I do with the EMF reader? Did I take it back out? I wanted to do another ghost event so I can just snap a picture of it. Because at this point we're doing like all behavior. So I'm going to try and rule out Phantom with the picture flash. But at the end of the day, this is really starting to look like Obake. It doesn't want to give away any of its evidence. Crazy. Welcome to Crazy Town. It also seems to be able to go upstairs and downstairs without messing with the salt, which makes me think Wraith. Which I wasted some of my salt talking about stuff. Where are you? Give us a sign. I don't think it's a Phantom. It would have demolished my sanity. It would have been an actual hunt by now, I think. Where are you? And, you know what? Activity has died down, hasn't it? I'm just not seeing ghost orbs. Alright, it's over here. It knocked... was it. It knocked on the window over here, and then it started the hunt from over here. And let's get out. Okay, so it started. We heard footsteps. It's not a Myling. Alright, so this is a no evidence run, I guess. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up, because yeah. Let's take one more look in here, and I'll give you my thoughts on what I think it is. Dining room and living room, so it's down here. It really favors this area. I want to see if it goes back upstairs at all, or if it just sticks to downstairs. This will be kind of a final thing while we go through our journal. That was just example stuff. Now that I'm not in there, it's not reacting. Alright, so, not a spirit. I feel like we could rule that out. I don't think it's a phantom, because it did, like, chain ghost events on us, and a phantom would have tanked my sanity super hard, and I would have immediately probably got a hunt after that. We didn't really get that. Poltergeist, it is throwing a lot of stuff. It's favoring throwing items above all else. I am going to mark off freezing, because it does seem like freezing always appears. Like, that's always one of the two evidences. If it's present, I feel like. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that off, just to mark it off. Living room. Banshee. Could be a Banshee. This actually could be a Banshee. Hold on. Whoops. I want that back. Yeah. Let's go put some crosses down and see if we can't kill activity. Did it shut this door on me? Did it do that? Did I just see dots? I swore I saw something move through the dots. Alright, so what we wanted to see here is if activity dies down suddenly, now that we have some crucifixes in there. I should have moved the sound sensor. But I almost swore... There it is. Wow. Talk about stubborn. And the crucifix certainly did not slow that down at all. So now we actually have something meaningful. If we do indeed rule out freezing temps, we're down to Phantom, Wraith, Banshee, Goryo, Yokai, and Reiju. I saw the dots myself, which we look at Goryo. Usually only show itself on camera if there are no people nearby. This thing has showed itself more than a cracked up flasher down at the local mall parking lot. So we know this is not a Goryo. I don't feel like it shredded my sanity hard enough for it to be a phantom. Now, dining room. If it manages to get upstairs again and doesn't step an assault, it's a Wraith. Because it's teleporting through the floor. Yokai, I know, I tried to provoke it with voice talk. It really didn't seem to be into it, so I'm going to rule out Yokai. And Reiju, we killed the sight power, and it did seem less active. But there were a ton of electronics laying around in there during the hunt, and it didn't sound like it was going any faster. It actually sounded like it was kind of milling around pretty slowly. So I feel like I can rule out Reiju. Which means we're kind of down to Banshee Wraith. Means we're kind of down to Banshee Wraith. And I'm not seeing the... You know, I think we might be looking at Wraith. What's the evidence of the Wraith? Tell us. EMF 5, Spirit Box, and Dots. So it might just not be giving up the Spirit Box. And the EMF 5 it could be being super elusive with. Or if we pop over to the Banshee... What we're looking at here is fingerprints, dots protection, and ghost orb. Fingerprints are kind of a 50-50, but I definitely at least caught it knocking on that window. And I did give that a shine. But fingerprints aren't guaranteed anymore. And I missed almost every other opportunity, so this could be a fingerprint ghost. I actually want to say it is a fingerprint ghost. Because I feel like I scanned a lot for orbs, a lot for Spirit Box, writing, EMF, it could be an EMF 5. But I know it's not a Goryo, so. I know it's not a Goryo. I think this leaves us with Banshee. This makes sense. It was very reactive. It kind of stayed into the kitchen until I came in the house. Now, the Crucifixes have been down for a little bit. Activity actually is dead now. Everything would match up for this to be a Banshee. A little bit of living room activity. Let's see if this is it, shall we? What an insanely tough round. Crazy. If it's an Oni, I swear to God. Banshee!
Welcome back.
Nailed it!
Some jobs ready for you.
That was super tough. We had to do it off one evidence and a little bit of process of elimination through the fact that it was probably fingerprints, and I just had to stay aware that I kept missing opportunities to catch the fingerprints. The window knock was literally the only thing, and fingerprints are no longer guaranteed. So, you know, we just had to look at freezing temps, which I felt I did a pretty good job of covering those. Ghost Orb, pretty good. Spirit Box, pretty good. The writing book, we did a pretty good job of covering. Like, we ruled out a lot of stuff, and then we went back and touched on the behavior. It was very reactive to me. And I was the only person, so there we go. Damn, that was hard. That's gonna wrap this guide up. I hope you all enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next video.